What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our aABL Season 4 Week 2 Team Builder. This week we are taking on FizzleTheHizzle and the Tampa Bay Buizels. His team consists of Jirachi, which is a Z user, Buzzwole, Donphan, Cofagrigus, Sneasel, Registeel, Drampa, which is a Z user, Mega Diancie, Suicune, Magmortar, Vileplume, and Thundurus Therian, which is his last Z user. He has priority in Donphan with Ice Shard and Sneasel with Ice Shard. He has Hazard Setting in Donphan with Stealth Rock, Jirachi with Stealth Rock, Registeel with Stealth Rock, Mega Diancie with Stealth Rock, and Cofagrigus with Toxic Spikes. He has removal options in Donphan with Rapid Spin, Drampa with Defog, and Thundurus Therian with Defog. He has 3 4x weaknesses: Buzzwole to Flying, Sneasel to Fighting, and Diancie to Steel. Alright, so let's talk about his team really quickly here. Jirachi is coming. That thing is a pain in the ass, and I'm pretty sure it's coming to deal with Mega Gardevoir. Buzzwole, I'm not set on. I had a mock, and Buzzwole almost ripped through my team, though, so I'm scared. But I think he won't bring it because Mega Gardevoir absolutely destroys that thing with a Psychic and a Hyper Voice. Besides that, Incineroar can actually deal with it pretty well. Skarmory can deal with it pretty well. Rotom-Wash deals with it pretty well. Nidoking can relatively deal with it. It doesn't get dark coverage from what I remember, so Dusclops can also deal with it too. It can't really take on the Girder after too much. It's a maybe. Donphan, I think he would bring. Maybe not, but I think he might. It doesn't have a fantastic matchup against my hazard setters since they, my defensive core of Skarmory and Rotom, because they both levitate, and so he can't deal with those very well. Obviously, we saw last week how weak my team is to webs, and he doesn't have webs, but my team's also doesn't really like rocks, so he might bring Donphan for that sort of purpose, who knows. I've seen rock polish Donphan before with a Lychee Berry, so I'm keeping my eye out for that. I know it gets natural gift, so he might try and tech on some natural gift to... Do I even have any 4x? Like, Weavile is my only 4x weakness to fighting. Oh, I've got Flygon 4x weak to ice as well. He's got Ice Shard for that, so probably not. Cofagrigus, I think, is a cool bring for him. I think he might bring it. It kind of checks the Girder. If he's scared of that, it does not check the Weavile whatsoever. Unless he brings like a Colbur set with Will-O-Wisp, I have to watch out for that actually. It can kind of deal with the Ambipom. Although Ambipom doesn't really want to run normal coverage against his team because it's just not very good. So he might, like, if he thinks that it's going to wall the Ambipom, Ambipom doesn't get walled by it on his team. Like, running knockoff or whatever, U-turn, and then you can run, like, Fire Punch, and, I don't know, Last Resort or something, like Fake Out maybe. Like, that seems like a decent Ambipom set to me, so really you're blocking the Fake Out. I don't know if it matters. Sneasel, I think, is a good bring for him. I'm not sure if he'd bring it because Girder beats it, and I have Sneasel's dad in Weavile, which is just the better version of Sneasel. It beats my Nidoking, kind of. It beats Flygon outright. Incineroar kind of bodies it, resisting both stabs. Skarmory takes hits for days. Rotom takes hits for days. Excuse me. It kind of beats Serena, but at the same time, Serena can block its priority. And it doesn't necessarily beat Mega Gardevoir either. It's kind of his only way to beat Dusclops reliably, so I'm wondering, but at the same time I'm not entirely sure. Registeel, I think, comes as a Mega Gardevoir wall. It's his most reliable Mega Gardevoir wall. Jirachi can still be hit by Shadow Ball very, very easily, and he only has 3 resists to Mega Gardevoir in his entire team, that being Jirachi, Registeel, and Magmortar. Magmortar does not have reliable recovery, granted neither does Registeel. He brought Wish Jirachi last week, so I know he knows that that exists, but again, Shadow Ball deals with Jirachi. Like, in theory, I could have brought a Hyper Voice, Shadow Ball, sub Calm Mind or sub Wish set and kind of just run through his team with Gardevoir. I ended up not going with that, and we'll talk about that in a second. Or we'll talk about that after I'm done running through the team, but that's that. Drampa is a waste of space, and that Pokemon is not good, so I'm not surprised if that doesn't come. I would be very surprised if it does come, because I think that it's kind of just Weavile food, to be honest with you. Drampa is Weavile and Mega Gardevoir food. My team is not weak to normal. So Hyper Voice is going to be doing crap. My team is also not very weak to Dragon, so we'll see. It's honestly Flygon setup fodder as well, so Mega Diancie, I believe, should come and will come. We've prepped very slightly for Mega Diancie. I've been swept by a Rock Polish Mega Diancie in the past. I'm scared of that, and we've got some ways around that, but we'll talk about that obviously when I talk about my team as well. Suicune, I think, should come. I was shocked that this thing runs a lot of speed on Crocoon sets. It's kind of weird to me. But in Draft League, it's not Crocoon, so well, I mean, you're not running that much speed in Draft League because you don't need to. So, Magmortar came in the mock, and it seemed like an okay idea. The set that was brought was a Power Herb Solar Beam set, and I'm not sure if that actually does anything against my team. I don't think that Magmortar does that much. It's too slow to be able to abuse my team. I have a lot of really good fire resists in Rotom, Flygon, Incineroar. That's it, actually. That's it. But most of my team outspeeds it naturally, so I wouldn't be surprised to not see it. I don't think it should come. Vileplume, another mon that I don't think should come. It's too slow, and it can't really check my team very well. Like, Vileplume's niche is sort of as a strength sapper, like a physical wall strength sapper, to sort of get HP back and lower the attack of a physical attacker. My team is more based around special threats, honestly. It's kind of balanced, but it's probably leans on the special side a little bit more. Thundurus, Thundurus is interesting. So it's kind of on my maybe list. I think he has a high opinion of Thundurus from what I've seen, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does bring it. It kind of beats Skarmory and Rotom, which is something. It doesn't beat Flygon. It doesn't beat Mega Gardevoir. Well, it can beat Flygon with HP Ice. It can't beat Dusclops unless it runs Dark Pulse. Mega Gardevoir kind of like soaks a hit and then kills it because it's pretty frail. So we'll see. I'm sort of predicting like a Jirachi, Donphan, Cofagrigus, Registeel, Mega Diancie, and Suicune, maybe? I don't know. I think there's like 8 things that he should bring. Obviously 2 of them were brought in the mock against me that I wasn't expecting, so maybe I have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about. Pardon my language, but I don't know. Shoutouts to Jed, by the way, for this layout. I totally skipped over this and haven't talked about it yet, but my good friend Jed, or Bionic Soup, made me this fantastic layout, and I think it gives a much higher production quality to my videos, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know, shoutouts to Jed. I was playing around with this on stream, so if you caught me on stream, then that's what I was doing. I was just sort of making adjusting the layout for certain things like team builders like this, and for live battles and stuff like that, and battle replays, which you'll see post this match. And I will actually be playing my NCL playoff match before this, and so you'll see the team builder in that match before you'll even see this one. But shoutouts to Jed. I probably won't talk about it in the NCL match, but I'm recording this before I build for that and do the team builder for that, so there you go. That's kind of all there is to it. Now let's talk about my team real quick here. We've got Machin à Laver, Rotom-Wash. We are bringing a physically defensive Rotom-Wash with a Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, and Hex. Fairly standard on the moveset. Volt Switch, he doesn't have a ground. Well, Donphan's his ground type. So that's his only immunity to Volt Switch. I don't know what I'm talking about. He's got Thunderous Therian as well, which is a Volt Absorb user, so he can absorb that as well. I'm running the Will-O-Wisp for the Donphan. It's also there for the Buzzwole and the Jirachi if he wants to be physical. I mean, I can burn anything on his team that's not named Magmortar, and I'd be okay with that. But for the most part, we're running like a tiny bit of speed on this. So if he wants to run like a max HP, max attack Buzzwole, we can burn that thing before it sets up a sub or something like that, and then we can hex through the sub and hex through the Buzzwole. His Hex Resist is Sneasel, and his Hex Immunity is Drampa. Besides that, Hex actually runs through his team once I get some stuff burnt. If I can catch the Deancey before it's Mega'd and burn it, then I can deal with that still. This is a physically defensive Rotom, so I don't want to be taking on special hits too much, but it is designed sort of to take on the Buzzwole. I've got the Pain Split there. If I get too low and he starts like roosting with Buzzwole or whatever, then I can Pain Split. I believe it goes through sub. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it does. Pain Split up on things like the Registeel if it wants to switch in later, like the Suicune if it wants to rest up or something like that as well, and then I can Volt Switch the heck on out of there. Max HP, max defense, and yeah, like I said, this 8 speed, it's actually there for the Suicune, because I think that he might want to be faster than my Rotom with Suicune. Like, that kind of just makes sense to me, that you'd want to be faster than my Rotom with your Suicune. So I think he's going to creep above my Rotom. Like, it makes sense for me to bring physically defensive Rotom-Wash against his team, so I think that he would creep no speed Rotom by 1 point, and I'm creeping above his creep, which is, so that's the Rotom set. Next up is Weavile or Diamant. Totally forgot to do the gender. There we go. We're bringing a Life Orb set with Low Kick, Icicle Crash, Knockoff, and Metal Claw. So this coverage is really fantastic against his entire team. The only thing that kind of stops this is Buzzwole. Funnily enough, Buzzwole is kind of a pain. Low Kick is there for the Registeel. I thought about running, Weavile is one of my Z users. I thought about running like a Fightinium Z Weavile set, and it ended up doing the same damage with Low Kick. It does the same damage as a Life Orb boosted Low Kick to the Registeel. I guess because it loses like the base power, like the increased base power, because Registeel's heavier, I think it loses that as a Z move. And so I ended up going with the Life Orb. So unfortunately, we won't be able to bluff like a band or anything, because we'll show the Life Orb, but we still outspeed his entire team naturally, so it shouldn't be too big a deal. I'm running the Icicle Crash. Now, I might regret this, but I didn't see a huge need for Ice Shard. The only thing I could see it being useful for is like a Scarf Thundurus or an Agility Thundurus, or like a Rock Polish Mega Deancey or something like that. But honestly, if that's my biggest problem, then I might be in a worse position than I think. So Icicle Crash is there for good neutral damage. It's gonna hit like the Cofagrigus. It's gonna hit like the Vileplume super well. It's gonna hit the Donphan super well. Ice Shard just doesn't cut it against the Donphan, but Icicle Crash does enough. Knockoff gets rid of a ton of items. I don't know if he would leave Jirachi in. It's the Psychic type, obviously. I can catch anything switching into the Weavile with a Knockoff. It's good against the Cofagrigus. Metal Claw is there basically exclusively for the Mega Deancey. I think Mega Deancey could be his Knockoff switch-in. Then I can outspeed it naturally as long as we hit the Metal Claw. I did not realize that Metal Claw was 95% accurate. We will OHKO, always. So that's pretty cool. We're running Jolly with enough speed to outrun our little brother Sneasel, or Budget Weavile as I like to call it, or Bad Weavile as I like to call it sometimes. Max attack with a bunch in HP because we didn't need that much speed. It was a 10 speed point difference, and that's that with Weavile, to be completely honest with you. Next up is Incineroar. We're bringing in Assault Vested Incineroar. This is a fairly standard Incineroar set, actually, with Darkest Lariat, U-Turn, Flare Blitz, and Earthquake. I believe this is the standard Incineroar set, actually, but it actually gives me the best coverage against his team, so maybe there's a reason why it's standard. Darkest Lariat is, like, super good. It goes through boosts, so if he wants to, I don't know what he might boost. I don't know. If he's, like, Curse Registeel, then I can go through his defense buff, and Darkest Lariat kind of hits it really hard. U-Turn is there for the momentum, especially because I'm an Intimidate variant. I think that I can switch in on something like a Jirachi, like a physical Jirachi. This really screws with physical Jirachi, actually, because he can't lock himself into a Psychic move, because I brought both of my Dark types, and he can't click Iron Head against this set either very well, because it kind of just walls it after the Intimidate and stuff. And so then he would want to switch out, obviously, because I'm a Dark and a Fire type, and so I can get the switch momentum by clicking U-Turn after that. Flare Blitz is there almost exclusively for the Registeel, but it's also there for the Buzzwole. And then the last move is Earthquake. This is going to hit the Diancie, it's going to hit the Registeel and make sure that I don't have to take recoil damage. It's going to hit the Magmortar, which I previously only could have hit with the Darkest Lariat. We take on Magmortar pretty well. Focus Blast is like its best way to hit this set, and I'm running a tiny bit of special defense investment. We're running max HP with the Assault Vest anyways. With Adamant max attack, we're going to hit like a truck anyways. I'm running no speed, so that might bite me in the ass later. We will naturally outspeed things like Donphan and Registeel, and the Vileplume. All of those are base 50s, and so we should just naturally outspeed. Same with the Drampa, is really slow. It's actually a base 36 mon, so that's cool. And the Cofagrigus will naturally outspeed. He does have Trick Room options on his team. I believe Cofagrigus and Jirachi are like the only 2 Trick Room setters. I'm not sure if Drampa gets the ability to set Trick Room, but he could run a Trick Room squad against me and have Drampa as the star. I don't know, like a Z, Dragonium Z or something like that. Who knows? That could be a set. I don't know. I'm not running min speed, but well, I don't know. If that comes, good prep. Honestly, good prep. Like, that's fantastic prep. Yeah. So this Incineroar deals with his special attackers. If he runs Diamond Storm on Diancie, he's gonna smoke me. There's no way around that. I can tank a Power Gem, but I can't tank a Diamond Storm with the set. I also can take Scalds, kind of. Like, I was sort of debating between like a Rocky Helmet physically defensive Incineroar and Assault Vest Incineroar, and decided that, excuse me, Intimidate was better. Jay helped me with a lot of this, by the way, so shout out to Jay for helping me build. Actually, I think he's my opponent next week, now that I'm thinking about that. Oh, he's not. Ooh! He's not. Week 4. Okay. Well, we end up playing Jay in 2 weeks. Yeah, so this is a pretty good Incineroar set. It takes on his special attackers relatively well. Can take on the Sneasel really well. It takes on the Jirachi really well. Regardless of the Jirachi set, we take it on well because it doesn't get good ground coverage, and that's kind of the best way to hit me. Or like fighting coverage. Like he could Drain Punch or something, but after the Intimidate, I'm pretty set, and it doesn't really get the best fighting special coverage. I think Focus Blast, it might not even get Focus Blast. I'm not entirely sure on that, so that's Incineroar. Next up is Nidoking. We are bringing a Choice Scarf Nidoking. This is there to revenge kill Diancie if Diancie revenge kills me. It's also kind of there to hit the Thundurus really well. Oh, excuse me. Yawning. Classic. We can revenge kill things like the Jirachi if he's not Choice Scarfed either. Sneasel, if it's not Choice Scarfed, won't really do too much to us with Ice Shard, and then we can bop it back. This breaks the Registeel, which is really important, because Registeel is kind of a pain in the ass. This can also break the Donphan, which is important as well. And this can break the Suicune, if necessary, as well. Vileplume does not stand a chance against this, neither does Magmortar, neither does Drampa. Buzzwole takes a hell of a lot of damage from Flamethrower. This is almost perfect coverage against his team. The combination of Earth Power, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt hits a lot of stuff super effectively. I think Cofagrigus might be the only thing that doesn't get hit super effectively by this. So, but I don't have 5 move slots, so what are you going to do? I mean, I wouldn't run Shadow Ball on this anyways, because Earth Power is just going to hit it harder. So that's kind of that. Obviously I can't get the Spadef drops with Earth Power because of Sheer Force, but it's all of these moves are boosted by Sheer Force. So, and I believe they're all base 90. 90, 90, 90, yeah. So they're all going to hit stupid hard, and it's just basically what's going to hit the best. Yeah, so that's kind of that. We've got a lot of speed on here. This is enough to outrun Scarfed Magmortar. Magmortar actually has a really weird speed tier, and so if you bring a Scarfed Suicune, which I've never seen before in my entire life, but if he does, then he's actually going to outspeed us if he wants to run max speed Scarfed Suicune. So that's that could be a pain. Please do not bring Scarfed Suicune. That could be real pain. Yeah, max special attack with 16 HP. You'd think that Nidoking would be a better physical attacker because of the base stat. Excuse me, because of the base stat difference, but it doesn't get as many physical moves that can benefit from Sheer Force, which is why it's run special. So that's the Nidoking set. Next up is Skarmory. We're bringing I would not want to play against this Skarmory set. So it's an Iapapa Berry sturdy set. So, you know, there's nothing on his team that can OHKO me. outside of Magmortar. Magmortar's like the only thing, and Thundurus. Excuse me. Actually, Thundurus cannot OHKO me with this spread, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Spikes, Iron Head, Roost, and Whirlwind. I'm not focused on getting up hazards this game, but it would be nice. If I can get a few layers of Spikes up and start Whirlwinding around his team, that could be really good. He does have a Magic Bouncer and Mega Diancie, but that thing has to be Mega Evolved, and Skarmory threatens it directly with an Iron Head. Iron Head doesn't hit a lot of stuff really well, like Registeel does not deal with well, Suicune it doesn't deal with well, but I've got the Whirlwind on there to phase things like set up Suicune and set up Registeel. Those could be really, they could be a real pain, actually, so, oh my god, excuse me, it's too late for me. Whirlwind to phase the setup mons, Roost for recovery. We're running a fully Spadef set. We don't need the physical defense because Rotom is our physically defensive wall. So Skarmory is kind of our specially defensive wall. We don't even take half from the Mega Diancie's HP Fire, so I'm not super concerned about that. In the mock, I got crit by it. What are you going to do, right? An Iron Head would have killed it back in that mock, but whatever. Phasing things over Spikes is just going to be really good. Like, Thundurus is the only thing that's not affected by the Spikes. Spikes are super good against his team. I could have brought T-Spikes because he has no grounded... oh shit, he's got Vileplume. I could have brought T-Spikes because I'm not expecting Vileplume, but I didn't think that a Selgor had as good of a matchup as Skarmory did. That Skarmory's job is to phase things around and sort of Iron Head things to death. If he thinks he's got me and like trap me where I can't get a Roost off, I've got the Papa Berry. Leftovers might be better there. I think that the Pinch Berry is going to do exactly as it says and help me out in a pinch. That's kind of my thought. Last mon is Serena. Interesting set with Black Belt. This is actually to be able to deal with the Registeel a little bit better, and I feel like High Jump Kick just hits his team better than Power Whip would. I'm probably not going to change this to Metal Plate. I thought about like running Miracle Seed over Black Belt, but I think if I'm stuck in a 1v1 against Registeel, I'd rather have the Black Belt. Now, I'm concerned because Registeel can run Protect, Suicune can run Protect. Both of those are very easy Protect mons. Like, they run Protect as part of regular sets sometimes. If this was Gen 6 Mega Diancie, I'd be really scared of it running Protect. Power Up's going to hit that thing better. High Jump Kick's a little more accurate. That might be a problem for High Jump Kick. Max HP, Max Attack, Adamant. I mean, we're not tanking a ton of hits, but this is kind of here with the Queen of Majesty to be able to take on both of his Ice Shard mons. I'm not extremely weak to the ice coverage, but it'd be nice to just not have to deal with priority at all. After that, Sneasel has to go for the Icicle Crash, and I can U-turn out of there or something like that. I've got the spin on here because he is a Toxic Spike setter in Cofagrigus, and I'm scared about that. I don't have to be necessarily because Nidoking can absorb them, but he also has 4 Stealth Rock users, and Weavile and Incineroar both do not like switching in on Stealth Rocks over and over and over again. So that's kind of the set. I'm not sure how great this team is looking at his team now, but I felt pretty confident in the mock and after the mock about the way I built this team. Maybe there's some stuff that I have to change up. It's probably too late now that I'm filming the Teambuilder. That's probably enough for me because this has been going on for a long time, and I will catch you guys for our game against Fizzle and the Tampa Bay Buizels.